Hey everyone, welcome to another installment episode of Behind the Screens, and in this series we'll explore what happened with the movie or TV production, going into why it never came to be and what it could have been. Some productions could have been surprise hits, while others are definitely better left unmade, and we piece together and share these untold and sometimes unknown stories. In this episode we'll explore Star Wars Episode 9, aka The Duel of the Fates. The final film in the Skywalker saga actually ended up being The Rise of Skywalker, but at one point, it was directed by Colin Trevorrow and it was going to have the name The Duel of the Fates. And it was going to be the most anticipated installment of the sequel trilogy, following in the footsteps of The Force Awakens and of course the infamous Last Jedi. In August 2015, Colin Trevorrow, hot off the success of Jurassic World, was announced as director of the then untitled Episode 9. However, in September 2017, Trevorrow was replaced by J.J. Abrams. So what happened?
What happened?
Well, the official story was creative differences and dissatisfaction with the script proposed by Colin Trevorrow and Derek Connolly. After a few attempts from other writers, Trevorrow wanted to do a final script draft himself, but Kathleen Kennedy decided to part ways instead. And rumors were that Lucasfilm thought the story didn't have enough of a neat ending, and also were concerned about fan service elements. What happened after that was J.J. Abrams providing maybe the most controversial Star Wars conclusion in any medium. And while The Force Awakens felt very similar to A New Hope, The Rise of Skywalker felt like a poor attempt at forcing the return of fan favorite characters such as Palpatine, even though I will personally never complain about getting a little bit more Lando in my life. So why are we exploring this topic? Well, in this installment of Behind the Screens, we're focusing on the largely unknown story of what happened to Trevorrow's unmade draft for Star Wars Episode 9. Some people may not be familiar with how far in development this version got, as there's detailed concept art showcasing character designs and pivotal moments from the script. And it's also beneficial for fans that aren't aware of what could have been, because honestly, this would have been a pretty great finale, I think personally. And this almost was our finale to the Skywalker saga. So the major players involved with the development and eventual abandonment of the Duel of the Fates include the following: Colin Trevorrow, Derek Connolly, Kathleen Kennedy, and Jack Thorne, who was hired to rewrite the script. Now, major events also regarding this development are starting off with August 2015, when Colin Trevorrow was announced as a director for Star Wars Episode 9 by Alan Horn. From there, jumping to February 2016, we enter pre-production on Episode 9, at least according to Bob Iger. December 2016 unfortunately featured Carrie Fisher's death, and that same month, actually 1 week later, Colin Trevorrow submitted a new draft. August 2017, Jack Thorne is hired by Lucasfilm to rewrite Trevorrow's script. In August 2017 as well, Colin Trevorrow attempts to make another draft but is denied. September 2017, Lucasfilm announces the departure of Colin Trevorrow from Episode 9, and September 2017, 1 week after Trevorrow's departure, Lucasfilm announces the return of J.J. Abrams as the Episode 9 director. So what was the general plot for the Duel of the Fates? So during the first part of the movie, we were going to be introduced to the Resistance as a few remaining planets in the galaxy not yet conquered by Supreme Leader Kylo Ren and his First Order. If a citizen under First Order rule was found to have interacted with Resistance members under Kylo Ren's rule, they were immediately sentenced to death. Rey as well had been receiving training not only from Leia, but Luke's Force Ghost, and now utilizes a double-bladed lightsaber built from parts of her staff, and as well Anakin's cracked saber. General Hux would have now had the rank of Chancellor Hux, dealing with legislative matters on Coruscant while Kylo Ren embarks on a mission relating to Darth Vader. Hux as well also collects lightsabers at this point from dead Jedi. And during the first act, Resistance members such as Rey, Finn, Poe, and Rose steal a Star Destroyer for the Resistance, which contains fully operational tanks, TIE fighters, and more. Skipping from there, while searching on Mustafar, Luke's ghost haunts Kylo Ren as he's swaying his nephew towards trying to be redeemed and going back to the light. However, Kylo eventually finds a Sith holocron, which shows Palpatine delivering a mission to Vader. If Luke had to turn to the dark side and slain Palpatine during Return of the Jedi, the mission would have been to travel with Luke to the Remnacor system for Sith training under being known as Tar Valon, Palpatine's Sith master at one point before Darth Plagueis. It also mentions an untapped power on Mortis that Vader could no longer possess because of his cybernetic state, but that Luke could access. However, before the message could finish, the holocron scans Kylo Ren's face, which results in Kylo Ren's face being burned with red lightning. This makes him use a Mandalorian armor piece for a mask in the meantime until he can make an official mask. The Resistance is also at this time located on Kor Alaf, where both Rey and Leia sense a darkness growing stronger within Kylo Ren. Luke's Force Ghost trains Rey to grow stronger in the Force, and during her training, she learns of an ancient Jedi system called a Force Beacon, which allows communication with around 50 planets via a signal. Rey hopes to find this under the Coruscant Jedi Temple to recruit allies for the Resistance. However, Rey severely doubts herself and the ability to successfully become the quote-unquote last Jedi. And at this point, multiple plots kind of develop, with plot A being Rose, Finn, R2-D2, and C-3PO journeying to Coruscant to find and activate the beacon. Plot B is Rey, Poe, and Chewbacca traveling to Bonadon to meet a seer who can hopefully help Rey with her memories and self-doubt. Plot C is Kylo Ren traveling to the Remnant Corps system to meet Tor Valum. And with plot A, the team finds the Jedi Temple and activates the beacon. The First Order is able to deactivate it with help from Kylo Ren, who neutralizes the Light Force energy, but not before multiple planets are shown receiving the signal. The First Order also tracks a stolen Star Destroyer, which forces the Resistance base to evacuate the planet. Rose is captured, but escapes, while Finn leads a revolution on Coruscant around the First Order Citadel. He's also able to utilize old Stormtrooper resources to gain unexpected support, and Leia, alongside of Lando, organizes smugglers entering a space and ground battle between the First Order. During this lengthy battle, the Resistance is able to successfully reclaim Coruscant from the First Order, and Chancellor Hux, being cornered with defeat, actually commits suicide before he could become captured. With plot B, they're tracked by the Knights of Ren, and when looking into Rey's memories, a star chart actually appears along with visions relating to Kylo Ren. It's revealed that her parents didn't actually sell her for drinking money as Kylo originally said, but instead they were hiding her from Kylo Ren. Under Snoke's orders at that time, Kylo and the Knights of Ren were to hunt every Force user in the galaxy and kill them. Soon though, after experiencing her Force vision, the Knights of Ren attack and a battle erupts between them and Rey. Eventually, Rey, Poe, and Chewbacca are able to escape, which allows them to regroup with the Resistance forces before Rey leaves for Mortis, where the Force is pulling her. With plot C, Kylo Ren meets Tor Valum, who is described as a 7,000-year-old Lovecraftian alien of unknown origin. Upon introducing himself, Tor Valum considers himself one of many so-called gods of Mortis, and Kylo says he wants to rule the galaxy with the power beyond army and stars. And Tor from this moment reveals that he knows the power not only to accomplish that, but to cheat death. However, to do so requires the ability to take life with the living Force. So while training, Tor teaches him a technique which allows him to drain the life force of others, and Kylo is able to use this ability to not only gain power, but heals his scars. However, at this point he begins to desire more and more until there's no other living creature on the planet, which I'm sure for a lot of Star Wars fans sounds kind of familiar to another dark side user. Now, Kylo at this point enters a cave called Vergence, which places him in a battle against Darth Vader. While powerful, Kylo is decisively beaten by Darth Vader, which sends him into a rage. And wanting more power, Kylo asks about Mortis, but Tor resists telling him, which prompts him in a rage to drain the living Force from Tor, along with stealing the information from his mind. He then leaves for Mortis. On Mortis, Kylo suffers a planet-inducing Force vision, which shows him a flashback of Ben Solo and his father Han Solo. And in this flashback to Ben's final conversation with his father before he left to train under Snoke, it then transitions to The Force Awakens, where Kylo killed his father. Rey and Kylo Ren also both meet at this point at an ancient temple where the Force is noticeably amplified for both individuals. At this point, Kylo believes himself stronger than Anakin or Luke Skywalker. However, Rey points out that in his quest for power, it's left him alone. And even though Kylo says she could still rule with him as the embodiment to the light while he represents the dark, Rey can't imagine joining him after learning he actually was the one who killed her parents, and from there they battle. During this battle, Kylo slashes her face, which actually blinds Rey, and he's about to kill Rey. However, Luke's Force Ghost appears, haunting Kylo about how he's failed in his quest for power with the dark side. Kylo tries attacking Luke, and it's revealed that Luke is so powerful as a Force Ghost that he can stop a lightsaber blade in mid-swing, even as a Force Ghost. And from this moment, Luke reveals that all living things in the Force are connected, both light and dark, as Rey is shown to be barely alive, powered by the Force, able to kind of understand what's happening around her at least, which allows her to also realize that she is chosen in the Force to find out balance. And that balance begins not by just eliminating the Sith or the Jedi, but it begins with oneself. Therefore, she must learn how to use both the light and dark in her. And from there, she's able to get up and fights Kylo while being physically blinded, but is able to react and fight through the Force, swaying between using the light side and the dark side. And now being evenly matched, because Rey becoming basically the conduit of the living Force on Mortis, eventually after a while she's able to actually best Kylo. From here, out of desperation and rage, Kylo uses that Force Drain ability to absorb the living Force from Rey. And since she was currently the physical embodiment of the living Force, Kylo actually not only decides that draining her power is worth it because Rey's very powerful, but he decides that draining her power will give him more than that secret power Mortis was containing. This continues until Leia is able to reach Kylo's mind through the Force and convince him to send not only the living Force back into Rey, but to redeem himself in that moment. And in the process of returning the living Force to Rey, it drains Kylo of his Force as well, and he dies. But with his dying breath, he goes to Rey and tells her her last name was Solana. And from there, Rey, also very weakened by this process, enters the astral plane of the Force, where she meets Yoda, Luke, and Obi-Wan. And there they offer her the choice to either become one with the cosmic Force or return to the living. Rey chooses to return to the living as a new type of Jedi with Obi-Wan's blessing. And Rey from here decides to train a new generation of Jedi with an understanding that balance within can lead to peace and justice and balance throughout the entire galaxy. So my final thoughts on this is that definitely this version of Episode 9 had a lot of it translate into what eventually became The Rise of Skywalker. Kylo Ren's death, the antagonist utilizing a Force Drain type technique, Kylo's death, which ended up saving Rey's life, the holocron that sent Kylo on his mission in the first place. But there are still clear differences, such as, Kylo basically remaining a villain throughout the entire plot, Finn leading an actual resistance, uprising on Coruscant, Rey's parentage being drastically different, and actually for me, in my opinion, for the better, because I'd rather her not be connected to anyone from the original trilogy, especially not being made the Emperor's granddaughter. Especially because if you read the novelization, you would know that Palpatine's son is basically just his clone without the ability to use the Force. Therefore, Rey is biologically Palpatine's daughter. But overall, I think Colin Trevorrow's draft would have been a better finale for the Skywalker saga. It continues the plot lines established by Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi, and at the same time isn't afraid to further explore the unseen. With returns to locations like Coruscant, Mortis, and the introduction of a new ancient Sith character like Tor Volum, this finale would have been an epic conclusion connecting the previous Star Wars media. I think it's safe that it would have been better for Lucasfilm to actually have proceeded with Duel of Fates, but instead we received a finale that not only contradicted the ending of the original trilogy, but also predicted almost every lesson and original idea proposed in The Last Jedi. But that's it for this video. Let us know what you guys think down below. What else would you like to see us explore, whether it's Guillermo del Toro's unfortunately never made Hellboy 3, Spider-Man 4 by Sam Raimi, tons of other productions. Let us know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys later.